And welcome back to Subculture. Well, there is a very, very special show that is about to start at the Butterfly Club in Melbourne. It is called Silly Little Things, and it is written and stars Laura Knaggs, and it is directed by Sharnema Nougar. So we thought today we would actually get Laura and Sharnema on the phone to talk a little bit about this show and what people can expect from it. Welcome to the program, both of you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks, David.
No problem. Now,
Great to
Laura,
be
starting off with you, tell us a little bit about where this show's idea originally came from.
It came from, I knew that I wanted to write a one-woman show and I had no idea where to start. So over the last 5 years, I've been collecting little stories from my life and I wrote them all down on cue cards and just had them all out on the kitchen table and kind of started to see an overarching theme. And then I sort of grabbed the stories that, fit well together and I wrote the first draft from that. So the first draft was, I knew that I wanted it to be completely true. And then it's slowly evolved with each draft. Now it's completely fiction. There's nothing, all of the stories are completely made up. But I suppose it stems from a lot of truth or like experiences that I've had or ways that I've felt. And, I feel like the characters in the story, I had no idea that it would end up where it has, and it's like it's taken on a life of its own, which has been really interesting to see. I never could have predicted that it would be the story that it is.
Sharnema, what did you think when you first heard Laura's idea for this show, and what made you want to get involved as director?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I read an earlier version of the script, and I was really into the tone that I could see peeking through, and the stories of that were. Sorry, I've just put my headphones on and now I'm completely discombobulated. Yeah, I was really into the friendship, unpacking of female friendships and how much that means to Laura and how much it means to the characters, and the real diversity of relationships that were really being unpacked in the show from all different, from like your neighbour to your mum, to your best friend, and just randoms that you meet in a club. And it just was like such a really beautiful landscape to unpack all the different relationships that you have, fleeting and long lasting. So I'm really interested in relationship based works through the feminist lens. So it was a bit of a no-brainer, and I could see that there was some, like slight hesitation, I guess, in the writing to really get gritty because you kind of like, you want to be nice. You want people to like you. And I was like, kind of go, you know what? I'm going to be the person to come in and say, you can get grittier here. Let's go for it. Like, go a bit further with this. Go a bit further with that. And that was really, really cool. And then the next couple of drafts just like kind of exploded from that.
Sharnema, what was it about it that you thought could be more gritty? Like, was there something a theme or something in the actual production that you wanted to see come through more strongly? What did you mean when you said that you wanted it to be a little bit more gritty?
I guess it's good people that just, like, even though they're good people, they don't have to be, their choices don't have to be likable or completely justified. Sometimes good people make really crappy choices or choices that seem to the viewer to be like, no, don't go in there, or don't, why would you choose that? Don't do that. But that becomes more interesting. And, we as people think that we're making the right choices all the time, but from the outside you can see your friends are like, oh, why are they seeing that person? Or like, why did they tell their mum that was always going to be a fight? Just getting to the jugular of life a little bit quicker, as opposed to kind of padding it out with trying to be kind of nice, which we do, I think, a lot in life because we want to be affable.
Yep.
But you can still be affable and make really crappy choices that are like, oh no, why would you do that?
Laura, you mentioned that it started off with little things from your life and then became a complete work of fiction. Tell us a little bit about how you grew Rosie as a character on that journey as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think her circumstances changed so much, even just from her place of work and what was happening in her life. And again, the relationships, I think that really shaped who she became, because I was planting her in these different situations, these different scenarios, and how she responded to each of those started to sharpen and define her character. And she just, again, took on a life of her own, as did the other characters. I mean, her neighbour is just a force to be reckoned with. Just that typical nosy neighbour, a pain in the ass. And it was just so much fun. I just felt like they started to just leap off the page, and it was by, planting them in these really interesting dynamic situations.
Yeah.
And then thinking, how are they going to respond, and how far can I push them?
Your 80-something-year-old neighbour actually be a legit menace and, like, smashing your property.
She's awful. She's awful, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, it's really fun that she's awful, and that's the kind of, like, that's the cool thing about being a bit sharper, and, like, that's what I meant by gritty as well. I think I was like, it's cool. Let's amplify these kind of characteristics that make them interesting and not sugarcoat it,
And we've all had a neighbour like that at some stage as well.
I think we've all had people in our lives where you just want to bang your head up against a wall because you're not getting anywhere with them. And I think Joyce, the nosy neighbour, that is definitely her.
And we definitely see her heart eventually too, and that's what's kind of satisfying, is that you do realise that there are all these multi-dimensions to these people. So as much as you're, like, rooting against her for a while, then you're like, oh, Joyce, she's actually just really the wise old crone, and, like, she was bang on about, like, not letting that guy into the apartment Laura was trying to sneak up through the night.
Rosie, not Laura.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Rosie. Method.
Now, I guess this is a question for both of you. You're also working with Emily O'Brien-Brown as well. Tell us a little bit about Emily's work on Silly Little Things and what she's brought to the show as well.
Yeah, Emily's been incredible to work with. She actually came to my first read-through, so she's been there since the very beginning, and I think because I just knew I had to get the first draft out just to get the ideas on the page, and then we could build from there. So Emily came in and we just discussed structure and, how we could tweak characters or situations and cut out things that weren't necessary and build up on things that were, or that, did come across really well in the script. And so even the shift from the first to the second draft, there was just, the structure changed everything.
I still haven't read the first draft. I'm really excited to read the first draft.
It would be wild to read the first draft after where we are now. So interesting. But no, Emily's just been incredible. This is my first time writing for stage, and I think just having her expertise along the way, she's been an incredible support, and she's given so much more time than I ever thought she would, but she's been so generous, and the script's come such a long way in a really big part because of her.
Definitely. Now, for all of our listeners out there, Silly Little Things is on at the Butterfly Club from Tuesday the 14th of March through to Saturday the 18th of March, 7 p.m. each night, and you can grab tickets from thebutterflyclub.com. I guess, again, for both of you, what would you both like to say to people who are thinking about heading along to check out Silly Little Things?
I think it's just a joyful show. It's so heartwarming, and she's a hot mess, but you're kind of rooting for her at the same time. And we had our first preview performance yesterday, and the reviews and the feedback was just wonderful, and everyone just said it was so heartwarming, and you really go on the journey with the character. I think it's just going to be a really enjoyable night of theatre.
Awesome. And Sharnema, what would you like to add?
There was a quote from someone last night that said it's like it's the intervention a lot of your friends need. Like, send them. This show is an intervention that all of your friends need. The ones that are kind of just not quite getting their boundaries for themselves right, or trying to empower themselves, but then accidentally just going a little bit too far with that, which is really exciting, and we've all been there. But yeah, it's kind of like Fleabag meets New Girl.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely cannot wait to check it out. And again, for all of our listeners out there, Silly Little Things is on at the Butterfly Club from the 14th of March through to the 18th of March, 7 p.m. each night. And you can grab your tickets at butterflyclub.com. Laura, Sharnema, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us today. It's been an absolute honour having you on the show. And like I said, I cannot wait to check out this show.
Thank you so much. We'll see you there.